presenting tonight with Richard Dean on Dubai Eye. But what many of you may not be aware of is that Richard has spent the last decade covering Dubai and the region as a business journalist and broadcaster for some of the world's leading financial media companies, which include Financial Times, The Economist, Bloomberg and Reuters. Locally, Richard is also a regular presenter of Leaders in Dubai, which is one of the most prestigious events in the Dubai local calendar. In May of this year, Richard's first book, Sink or Swim, How to Stay Afloat in the Economic Times, was published. And again, for anybody who's interested, the book is available today from the Motivate team over in the corner. Richard has kindly agreed to sign copies for anyone who takes the book today, and many, many thanks to Motivate, who have offered a very special rate on the book if it's purchased today at this event. So, without further ado, the coming boom could kill your company. Richard Dean, please come and explain.
Well, very good morning, and thanks, Andy, for that introduction. Actually, well, thank you for coming along today, and it's really nice to be talking to a group of people with a finance bent, because you guys have your fingers on the purse strings, and you know who pays you back and who doesn't, so you've got some great insights. And after this short presentation, it'd be great to kick around some of these ideas and see what's happened since the research from the book was conducted about 8 or 9 months ago, to see where we are now. So I'm particularly looking forward. And this is kind of what we expected: have a diverse client base, relatively conservative debt, relatively conservative cash. That's kind of what we expected them to say, and it's what they did say. These are the operational factors. What were the critically important ones? And again, in many ways, it's the kind of things that we expected to see. Expertise. This is remember Michel Canu, stick to your knitting, stick to what you know. If you've got expertise in that sector, you're great. If you're if you run, I don't know, an IT company and suddenly become a real estate developer, then you're in trouble. Adaptability, strong brand as well. Again, it's kind of what we expected to see. But this kind of surprised us. Reactions, things you did to react to the crisis. There were a couple of surprises in here. And one of them was not the number one, cash flow. Yeah, we expected that. Sharper focus on cash flow. And we've all been doing that, haven't we? Chasing up our debts and so on. Opportunities, look at that. The second most important thing, reaction, is search for new opportunities. And that surprised me, because I felt back in early 2009, we were all kind of on the back foot, weren't we? Defending our stumps, rather than going on the front foot with flashing cover drives on the front foot. But no, seeking new opportunities is important. And this, if you like, this comes back to something else that Ryan Mahoney told me. When he could see that the storm was coming in summer 2008, they did 4 things. They did, let's cut costs, let's try and defend our revenues, let's make sure we communicate with our staff. The third of the four pillars was generate new revenues. How can we generate new revenue? Which, when he first told me this, I thought, well, that's a bit naive for a real estate company in September, October 2008 to be looking for new revenues. But they did a bunch of little things. I mean, a couple of examples. The Better Homes website, bhomes.com. Because of the IT that's driving it, it's become kind of a de facto pricing mechanism for Dubai real estate. If you want to know what's the going rate for a 3-bedroom house in the Springs, you go on Better Homes and see. So he thought, and because of that, it was, by traffic, the most popular real estate website in Dubai. So they started charging for adverts. Again, late 2008. But he said people like Marina Furniture, they've still got to sell furniture. People are still moving house. People are still buying furniture. So they started advertising. Some of the removal companies as well. The retailers. People were buying houses, but they were still moving and renting. Just over 100 people. So we asked them, are you the business leader in your organisation in the UAE, either the country head for a multinational or the general manager? And about 3/4 said, yeah, I'm a business leader. And about 1/4 said, no, I'm not. So we said, do you agree that leaders would respect and admiration for the handling of the crisis? And of the leaders, 93% thought they had a great, well, yes, I will respect and admiration for my handling of the crisis. But of the workers, the rank and file, only about half of them thought they did. It just suggests that leaders have a slightly inflated view of their own opinion, their own self-worth. So that's the second part of the book, the Monday morning quarterbacking, looking over what happened and drawing some conclusions. Now we're going to go forward and come up with very, very quickly some ideas of what we can do going forward. We've established that the boom is coming. We've established that while the boom is inevitable, it's not inevitable that we'll all make money, because in booms people do silly things. They buy 25 apartments off plan in Ajman and so on. So what can we do so that we, A, get the benefit of the upside of this boom, because we all want to benefit from it, but B, make sure we do it in a stable and sensible way so that we're still here in 10 years' time. Because as sure as the next economic boom is coming, it ain't going to be like that, it's going to be that, because that's been the case throughout the history of the UAE since its inception in 1972. I mean, there's a few people here, but who've been here a while.
Recession-proofing company. Is that really possible?
I think the book and the market proves that yes, it is. There are plenty of good businesses that have combined the right people with the right products, the right processes, and have actually not just survived but thrived during the downturn. So I think
To teach business lessons from the UAE. What have you and Gulf Finance learned in the wake of the global downturn?
what we've learned at Gulf Finance is that businesses that take a forward look, they look over the horizon, see the storm clouds coming, and put good measures and good processes in place, they are the businesses that have the best opportunity to survive during the downturn. So we've learned a lot about making sure that we pass on that knowledge to our clients and helping them prepare for what the future looks like in the UAE.
Steve Williams there, he's the Chief Executive of Gulf Finance, which lends money to small and medium-sized businesses here. He was also a contributing editor of the book, and he and his team did a load of work in helping to crystallise what are the factors that separate the sinkers or the swimmers, the people who pay them back and the people that don't. What are the common characteristics? And what we did was we came up with a very, very simple framework for going forward, things you have to focus on so that you can benefit from the upside without being killed by the downside. I don't know about you, but I'm really, really suspicious of management consultants and authors who come up with clever acronyms from some new strategy. You know, you get this new sales technique from XYZ consultancy, the target sales campaign, and you always think, it's the tail wagging the dog. They come up with a nice word and then they try and fit the substance around the nice word. And you can just see them, target's a great word, but we haven't got the G. Let's add gardening to our new sales consultancy. So personally, I'm very sceptical about these things, but it hasn't stopped me doing it. The model, the strong, sustainable business model. This is what our research showed are the 5 areas you have to focus on. As I say, benefit from the upside without getting killed by the dips. And they are money, operations, discipline, expansion, and lookout. Money speaks for itself. Watch your debt, don't have too much, make sure it's manageable, make sure you can pay it back in bad times as well as good. Operations, remember Ryan Mahoney, very, very well-run organisation. It's kind of boring, isn't it? Operations, having the management systems and structures and the IT and the supply chain in place, but you know what? It can really give you a competitive advantage. It means you can satisfy your customers better, more consistently, and in a cheaper way, and it really does matter. Discipline's an interesting one. Now, discipline came from one of the guys I profiled in the book, fascinating guy, Mahendra Patel. He's the founder and chief executive of GEAP, which is a big industrial company here in Dubai, the biggest steel importer, steel processing, they do food distribution, very old economy stuff. And I had a fascinating discussion with him for the research. And he's late 60s now, or early 70s. He came to Dubai in 1972, I think it was, or 3, first Gulf oil boom. Not a rags to riches story, wealthy family in India. He just graduated from university and spent some time with the company, and they said, Mahendra, off you go to the Middle East, it's booming there, go and have a look around and see what you can do. And he came to Dubai, even though no one came to Dubai then, it was all very rich. But here's the point, he says, a lot of people made money during that first Gulf oil boom. He started off with material supply, concrete and steel and stuff, and then moved into contracting and other things. And he said a lot of people were making money. He did nothing special there. Such a boom, whatever you were selling, you made money. But he said the thing is, come the 1980s, when oil dipped to $10 a barrel, the boom was finished, economic contraction all over the place, many of these companies disappeared, and they're not around today, but his company is. And he says it's because we had discipline. Discipline with our money, discipline with our operations, discipline with our management, and the related topic of discipline with our expansion. Like Michel Canu, he expands and diversifies, but only into areas where they have core competence. And here's an example. One of the units within GEAP is ship chandling, ship husbandry. So preparing the ships when they report here in Dubai and around the region, and it's a nice little business. And they thought, hang on, so we're giving them supplies and food and what have you to all these ships, and we're doing it well and making money. So why don't we start supplying food to restaurants and shops and supermarkets as well, because they need it as well. So they did, but they already had the expertise about supplying food, cold storage. They expanded, they diversified, but Mahendra didn't touch real estate with a barge pole, and he told me, and it's in the book. All my mates were telling me, all my bankers were saying, leverage, make money in Dubai real estate, you've got a fortune, you can have 3 fortunes. And he just wouldn't touch it. And the other thing he wouldn't touch, because he had the discipline not to, was speculating. Now he's a big steel importer and steel processor. Think back to 2008, commodity prices going through the roof. Not just oil, steel prices also. It's huge demand. Middle East, China, India, Latin America. It was going through the roof. So what a lot of steel importers here did was something called hoarding. It was January 2008, steel, benchmark steel price was about $700 a tonne. So a lot of them, they bought a load of steel, hoarded it, thinking, well, the price is only going one way. If we hang on for a few months, we can sell it for a massive profit, particularly if they did that with borrowed money. And they did. They made an absolute bloody fortune, because by the middle of 2008, the steel price had doubled in 6 months to $1,500 a tonne. Now, if you've leveraged a doubling market, you are quids in. So they did it again, and they bought some more. But then Lehman Brothers happened, and the price went from $1,500 a tonne down to $400 a tonne. In just 3 months, they lost a fortune. Mahendra Patel had the discipline not to be a speculator. His phrase is, I'm a trading company, not a hedge fund. I supply steel, I make a margin, stable, steady business. I'm never going to double my money in 6 months, but I've been around 40 years and I'm not too badly off.